what's new, guys? Back with the fresh vinyl review. Today we're going to be looking at the X Plus 25 centimeter Toho Large Monster Series Godzilla 1965 from the Toho film from 1965. Kaiju Daisenso, better known in Japan as The Great Monster War. Here in America, Monster Zero, Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, Godzilla vs. Big Bird, Cookie Monster, Monster Zero, whatever you want to call them. Bam. Okay, so this figure came out, what is it? It is November 2018, so the figure only came out in the last... We're just going to roll with that because I hit the tail over here. Anyway, the figure just came out, and it's getting into collectors' hands as we speak, as we record here right now. And I got mine just about a week or so ago. I went with the RIC. It came with the little Planet X controller guy here. I'm just going to lay him down because I'm probably going to hit the table a couple more times and knock him down. Anyway, let's talk about the box real quick. Typical 25 centimeter box, window display, got the same getup and everything that it comes with it. I'm going to chuck the box. The only thing I'm going to keep out of the box here is the little black label down there. I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to save it. Maybe I'm eventually going to make little plaques to go in front of the figures with them because I have a whole bunch of them. The rest of the boxes and everything else is garbage. Don't need them. Don't need them. We're actually talking about that on the X Plus group, and maybe I'll make a topic out of that on a separate video, just something to discuss. Thinking actually about doing like a fresh vinyl after hours, like a once a week, 30-minute show, Friday or Saturday nights or something, but we'll talk about that at another point in time. It won't be reviews, it would be like topics and whatever about the hobby. Anyway, so the figure itself, 25 centimeter line, as we know, as I said multiple times here already. I was a little skeptical about this figure when I first saw it because the prototype pictures, again, it depends on how the picture is being taken and the angle and everything. And I was like, darn, man, I thought it could look better when I saw the pictures. But as I always say, don't judge a book by its cover because you got to read the book to really get the full story. And that the same goes with collecting figures, like we know, right? So what do I mean by that? You can't really judge it until you have it in your hands, okay? Good. So when I got this figure in my hands, I was like, wow, this really blew me away. I was pretty darn excited for it. I mean, not to mention, it's another Showa Godzilla figure in the 25 centimeter line. We had just got the 54 Godzilla. He's somewhere over here in this mess. And so I was like, yeah, give me another Showa Godzilla. I'm not going to complain. But when I got this figure out of the box, I was really wowed by it. I feel like I'm having a lot of fun with this figure for some reason, way more than I do any other X Plus release in recent months. Again, maybe because it's a Showa. I just really think that this figure captures the awesomeness that the Godzilla suit in 1965 looked like. Again, this was the first time this suit was used in film. It was, rehabilitated for 1966 Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. And then again for Jiras in the Ultraman series later down the road there. But this figure really captures the look of Godzilla from that film. Not to mention, that is my third Godzilla film, so I do have a sweet spot for that film. I watched that. That was one of the 3 movies that I watched over and over and over again until I went to the little thing called video rental store, and I saw this whole column of a row of other Godzilla movies. I'm like, there's more out there. Mamma mia. Anyway, so the figure's awesome. I really dig it. It is beautifully sculpted. It is the detail on this figure. It is really, really crisp. Unlike some other 25s, while they are crisp, this one just has a deeper texture to it. And it really, really looks really, 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 really good. Okay? As you can see, I'm really excited about it. And really no complaints with anything about this figure. He's got a stylized pose, kind of like mid-walk, as if he was walking on Planet X or, at the end battle. Which, not to mention, one of the awesome things I love about that film is Godzilla, Rodan, and King Ghidorah fighting and destroying Japan together. Then there's this one scene in the movie where all 3 of them are on screen and the military's firing at them, and it's just awesome. I was like, wow, ever to see Godzilla and King Ghidorah on the same side? That's the only time we've seen it, right? Yeah. Okay. So, again, typical Godzilla figure, really charcoal skin color, paint job, a tree bark skin texture. Dorsal plates are painted up nice. They're more on like some of the other Godzilla figures from the 25 centimeter line. These are more gray dorsal plates. They don't have they're not even bone white. They're definitely, if anybody that's in the Navy, you have deck gray, then you got haze gray. So this is more of a deck gray, and his dorsal plate highlights are haze gray. So if you know what that means. do your homework. Hit it up. Hit it up in the comments if you want to know what that means. Bada bing, bada boom. Bam. Okay. The eyes look awesome. Mouth, teeth, all nicely individually sculpted. If I do recall, we were talking with a couple of other guys from Fresh Vinyl Live. Dave Dobko, awesome painter. I believe the teeth are supposed to be a little bit dirtier, but these are pretty clean, just like he got out of the dentist. Not a bad thing. He flossed. That's good. It's important to keep your hygiene up, okay? So initially they look good. If we were going to exact screen accuracy, I think they're a little bit dirtier. Tongue, nicely individually sculpted in there. Again, that's just something that I believe X Plus just pounds into the sculptor's head. Individual sculptor, okay? Individual. That looks good. Now, I didn't notice this, but I don't think there's any holes there on the neck for where Nakajima was in the suit where he looked out of the neck. So, but even still, that's where he was. Now, there's one thing that we talked about when this figure came out on the X Plus group. It's the detail on how this suit, this figure captures the suit, but also the suit actor inside the suit. Look at the hands here. I love that on how the hands are almost... they are positioned as how Nakajima was in the Godzilla suit. Now, I've seen this happen a lot in the movies, and I kind of think it's because of the way Nakajima has his hands inside the suit as to why they're kind of doing that number. And you got to remind you, like, this suit's made out of latex foam, rubber, and everything, whatever they were using back in 1965. It could have been hard for him to, to really just close and clench his fists, so maybe that's why they look like that. Other things, the suit does have some bagginess, specifically in the arms again, but everything else is really, really nicely done. Again, this figure, it's awesome. There is a couple seams. Talking with Sam West, he said that up here on his figure, where the seam is, I didn't even notice the seam until he pointed it out, but where this forehead seam here meets, or the neck seam that goes up the neck to the top of the forehead meets, his was a little painted differently. Mine, I didn't even notice it. It is actually, mine's fine. It's just assembly line situations there. So if yours has like different paint texture, what am I saying? It's just how things roll. If you can fix it and paint it, get it fixed. Do it up. Now, some other things I've noticed with collectors getting theirs is the bottom jaw was a little wonky. Maybe it was just a little crooked that way, a little crooked that way. Maybe he had it up over his face, like an upper, overbite or something. Mine, I don't necessarily see anything wrong with it. I mean, maybe it's just the way that it was sculpted, but I'm not going to mess with it. I think it looks fine. Only do I start thinking about these things until other collectors point them out. And that's why I try to judge my opinions on it before I see anybody else's review or anybody else's opinions or pictures. Right out of the boxes, that's where the money is, because the figure's awesome. I really, really dig it. Talk about the RIC real quick here. I think it's great that X Plus went back with RIC extras rather than light-ups, because light-ups are just really just worn out, burnt out, like I say, pun intended. I actually turned on my Godzilla Final Wars Gigan, and I think the light burnt out as soon as I hit the switch on. So I'm like, great, there goes another burnt out light up, but whatever. So it was awesome to see that we're getting a humanoid figure, because these are underrepresented in the X Plus line, be it gigantic, 30. There he goes. Drink a little too much Jack Daniels. And so it was great to see a humanoid figure. We had previously got the Dr. Serizawa with the Godzilla 54. This one, we get the Planet X, a Planet X controller, henchman. I don't believe it is the controller because it doesn't look like him. So it's just a henchman, okay? But he looks awesome. Painted up perfect as far as what we saw on screen. He's got those nice little elf shoes, hobbit shoes, whatever we're going to call them. And he's got that awesome Planet X vibe pose going on. So it looks really awesome. He's even scowling. You could tell he's kind of just pissed off. Probably because he's so small. He doesn't even have a ship or anything to go on.
Teeny little super guy pops right up before your eyes. He's no bigger than your thumb.
Now, that's an awesome, cool feature. If we get a 1965 Rodan, I'm voting for a flying version X Plus, a flying version of 1965 Rodan with a Planet X ship propped up on a nice little stand. Okay, thanks. That's what I want, and I want it. I'm going to message UG after this. Okay, good. All right, so that's the RIC. Awesome. We need more RIC extras like this. No more light ups. I'm done with the light ups. Unless it's blue dorsal plates, Godzilla 1964, I'll take it. Now I'm going to bring up the 1966 version to do a little comparison here. I really never had any major issues with the 1966 version, but when I compare these two together, this one just makes me want to just go get out of the way because this looks beautiful compared to this one. Not to, now mind you, the suit's a year old at this point. It does look baggier, as, basically gravity did its job on this suit and it just got worn out over the course of a year. And not to mention the suit was really beat up in Monster Zero, Kaiju Senso, okay? So this really looks like he's just sagging, just again, the suit just beat up. But the major differences here, they are not too similar to say you can't justify picking up this one if you had that one there. So a definite pickup for me. Okay? But yeah, I'm glad I have both, but this one takes the cake, as I said that before. All right? So there's your comparison. A couple pictures there. Bada bing, bada boom. I really like the 65. Actually, I love it. It is a fun figure. Definitely glad I picked it up. It was a must pick up anyways. It was not going to pick it up. So, trying to think, is there anything else I need to mention about it that we discussed? No. There's no concern about him leaning forward. Tail is kicked out of back enough, and everything's good there. Again, just get it to Godzilla's butt, squishy soft, squeeze it in. Bam. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to stop rambling there. That pretty much sums up my opinion on this review. I'll see you guys in the next Fresh Final review. Thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the down button. And if you can hit the down button, leave a comment. Why? I always like the feedback, whether it's negative or positive. Anyways, I'll see you on my next Fresh Final review. Remember, people, buy vinyl, Fresh Vinyl. Bam.